guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be doing kind of like a sit down girl talk gossip session. So put this on while you're doing some laundry or dishes, or grab a glass of wine or tea, and let's just chat about makeup brands, drugstore makeup brands. So I got the idea for this video because I feel like I've been reaching for certain brands for certain things. I also did another like top 5 favorite products for every brand, and I saw a lot of themes coming through, like certain brands do certain things really well. So I thought we'd talk about drugstore brands, what they do best and what they do worst. So like by brand, what they're best at and what they're worst at, because we don't want anyone getting too big of a head, right? I searched on YouTube to see if anyone else had done this type of video before. I saw that Jessica Braun did a video where she talked about each category of makeup and what brand did it the best, like primer, which brand she thought was best at the primer, etc. So it's sort of similar to that, but with a little bit of a twist. So I'm just gonna go over a few of the brands today, and if you guys like this, then we can keep it going because there are a ton of brands that we could talk about. All right, let's start with L'Oreal. I feel like L'Oreal was the hardest for me, and I realized that out of all of these brands, this is probably the brand that I love the most stuff from, which is surprising to me. But base products, I mean, they make my favorite foundation, the Serum foundation. They make the Age Perfect Serum foundation, which is also incredible. The Infallible Fresh Wear foundation. I mean, if I had to only use one brand forever for face base products, I would go with L'Oreal. But their lip products are incredible as well. Les Nues collection, the liquid lip stains that I rave about, the new lip glosses with hyaluronic acid. I mean, I can't choose between those two categories. When I really think hard about it, I also love their mascaras, the L'Oreal Voluminous, Lash Paradise, L'Oreal Unlimited. Like, they kill it in the mascara department. So this is the only brand where I was like, wow, there are 3 categories where I can't picture my makeup collection without something from each of those categories from this brand. Surprisingly, giving a lot of love to L'Oreal, they make amazing products, but we can't like inflate their ego too much. When I think about the quality that they put out, the resources they have for how large of a brand they are, I am shocked that they don't have a better eyeshadow palette option. I want to love their nude palettes because they remind me of like the Naked palettes by Urban Decay. They have really pretty color stories, very good neutral everyday shades, but the quality just isn't there. I'm surprised that they're even still in the market. I don't know anyone that loves those palettes, but with the quality that they put into their other products, I'm surprised that they haven't gotten eyeshadow right. But in my opinion, they're just not good at eyeshadow palette. All right, next up is Milani. This one was easy, lips all the way. The new lip oils have become my go-to everyday product that I put on my lips. They're hydrating, they're long lasting, they're pigmented, they smell like my childhood. Love them. My all-time favorite gloss, Milani Keep It Full in the shade Champagne. Their matte lipsticks, especially the shade Peony, that is, it's so good. As much as I love L'Oreal lipsticks, and I mean I love L'Oreal lipsticks, I feel like if I had to use one lipstick brand ever, I would have to go with Milani over L'Oreal. Oh, that's so hard. Maybe not. They're pretty tied. All right, and then worst for me from Milani has got to be powder, setting powder. I don't love their Make It Matte powder. I don't think they have a good loose powder. I'm not even a huge fan of their powder foundation. For a brand that does base products really well, I like their full coverage concealer. I like their full coverage foundation. Powder is just not something that they've gotten right, in my opinion. There's a lot of room for improvement there. All right, next up is Covergirl. For a lot of these, I had to go on Ulta or Target's website, search the brand, and remind myself all of the products that these brands come out with, because there are so many products. And then I went through by category. Okay, what primers do I like from this brand? Okay, what mascaras? Okay, what foundations? I went through every category, and it wasn't really till I sat down and thought these through that I realized where some of these massive brands are really falling short. And Covergirl was one of them. So I'll get to the thing that I don't think they do well. But in terms of things that they do well, I was stuck between foundation, because they make their Outlast foundation is so good. It's one of my favorite full coverage, long-lasting base products. They also have their Clean Milk kind of tinted moisturizer product that's really good for drier skin. And then probably the best BB cream option for oily skin out there, Clean Fresh BB cream. Love that stuff. So I think that they do base products really well, but I also think that they do mascaras really well. Their green mascara I've raved about forever. The Covergirl Exhibitionist mascara. I feel like they're one of the go-to drugstore brands for mascara. So both of those categories, I think that they do really well. When I think about Covergirl, I'm like, I don't think that there's one highlighter from them I've ever tried that I really like. Not one. And that's so surprising to me because, again, they're a huge brand. I think the closest highlighter I've liked from them is from that same kind of milk tinted moisturizer line. They had those little Clean Fresh highlighter sticks. Those were decent quality, but I want to say they were like $12. And that's really the only CoverGirl highlighter I can think of. And it's really not that great. So I'd love to see them come out with like a powder highlighter or a balmy highlighter, maybe as a part of expanding their Clean Fresh line, which they seem to be doing a lot of. All right, next up is Maybelline. And I'd love for you guys to like do this along with me when I say a brand and try and think of what you love from them and where they're lacking. Because when I said to myself when I was planning this video, Maybelline, I immediately thought of the things that I like from them, but I couldn't really think of anything I didn't love from them until I went through every category and I'm like, wait a minute. I don't have one thing from that category from this brand that I like. So for Maybelline, I think they make the best long wear lipsticks at the drugstore. If you want a lipstick that's just not gonna budge, Maybelline has got you covered. Between their new, I have it in front of me, the new vinyl ink lipsticks, their classic Super Stay liquid lipstick, and these ultimate matte lipsticks, when I'm going somewhere where I need to know my lipstick will not fade or budge on me, I feel like the first brand that comes to my mind is Maybelline. They also do have good mascara options. I think a lot of people think of mascara when they think of Maybelline, but I just don't feel like they do that as well as they do long-lasting lipsticks, and I don't think their mascaras stack up to like CoverGirl and L'Oreal quite as much. I love Lash Sensational, but that's really the only one I can think of that I love, love, love from Maybelline. They don't do well is blush. I have a bronzer from them that I love, but I don't have any blushes from Maybelline that I love. I know the Fit Me line has some blushes, but I really can't think of a whole lot of options even from Maybelline in the blush department. All right, next up is Wet n Wild. And the first thing that came to my mind for Wet n Wild was their tools. I think that Wet n Wild, along with another brand I'm gonna mention, make the best tools at the drugstore. What I mean by that are makeup brushes and makeup sponges. I love the Wet n Wild makeup sponge. Their crease brush and their powder brush are two of my absolute must-haves in every makeup collection. Their powder brush is $3. The crease brush is 99 cents, and they are incredible. And I want to say that their makeup sponge is also under $5. So amazing price points and amazing quality. The other thing I think Wet n Wild does really well is highlighters. Their classic highlighters. They were one of the first drugstore brands that came out with a highlighter where everyone was like, wait a minute, the drugstore can make highlighters? Like, what? I remember when I got the Precious Petals highlighter from Wet n Wild and I was like blown away. And then since then they've come out with their highlighter kind of blush sticks that are so good that people claim are a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury. I just think that they do both of those really well. What they are worst at, in my opinion, is mascara. I know they have the Big Papa mascara that a lot of people like, but that just didn't work for me. And none of their mascaras have really blown my mind. I think they make really good eyeshadows. I think they have some good eyeliner options, but mascara, definite pass for me from Wet n Wild. All right, next up is NYX. And I think you all know what I'm gonna say they do best. I think we can all agree what they do best, and that is brows. Their micro brow pencil and their Thick It Stick It brow gel are just, you can't really compete with them in the brow department. Drugstore or high-end, they're two of the best brow products on the market. I do also think that they do primers really well. That was the other one I was thinking about putting in here. Their Marshmallow and their new Electrolyte Primer are two of my favorites, but with this one, even though there's multiple things I think that they do well, brows takes the cake for me pretty easily with this one. What I think they do worst, and this may be an unpopular opinion, is foundation. I don't like any of their foundations. They just don't work for me. They're pretty overpriced for what you're getting. Like, I'm willing to pay the premium for the L'Oreal foundations because I think that they are premium quality for the drugstore. But I'm not willing to pay the hiked NYX prices for their base products. Not their concealer, I mean their foundation. I just don't see much difference in terms of quality with their foundations versus like a Wet n Wild foundation, and the price difference is pretty jarring. Actually, the only base product from them that I've really liked is the Bear With Me BB Cream Skin Tint, and I'm pretty sure that's discontinued. If it isn't, I can't seem to find it anywhere. So the only time that they did get like a check mark from me in the base product department, they got rid of it. So NYX is not a brand I think of when I think of great foundation. All right, next up is number 7. Easiest one of all for what they do best, powder. Hands down, full stop. their setting powder, their loose setting powder, their pressed setting powder, best on the market. The pressed setting powder is the dupe for the Airbrush Flawless by Charlotte Tilbury, and their loose setting powder is just one of the best loose powders that doesn't look cakey or heavy. It has hyaluronic acid in it. It sets your makeup without looking cakey. But I remember discovering them years ago, and after I tried their powder, I was like, oh my gosh, give me everything from this brand. Their eyeshadows are pretty decent. They have some decent mascara options. When I tried their lipsticks, I was pretty underwhelmed, and I don't even think you can buy them anymore in the US. I didn't try all of their lipsticks, but I remember trying a couple, and they're, again, one of the higher priced drugstore brands, so I'm looking for it to blow me away, better than like a L'Oreal or Milani lipstick, and it just wasn't, and I paid quite a bit for it. So in general, No. 7 is a brand that is getting harder and harder to find. I can find it online at Ulta, I can find it online at Target, but it feels like just a couple of weeks ago, it was all of a sudden pulled from all of the Targets near me. So I really hope this isn't the beginning of the end for No. 7 in the US, because if it is, I'm about to go stock up. All right, and then last but not least is e.l.f. This is the other one outside of Wet n Wild that I feel like they really shine in the tools department. Their dual-sided complexion brush, their total face sponge, their e.l.f. putty primer brush for cream blush and cream contour. They just make some of my favorite brushes. If I had to pick one brand at the drugstore that I would forever buy my makeup brushes from, I would pick e.l.f. I think they also do cheek products really well. I don't know if that counts as a category, but I love their putty blushes and bronzers. I also love their primer infused blushes and bronzers. They're super top-notch quality and really great price point. But again, very similar to Wet n Wild, their mascaras just really fall short for me. I think the only mascara I've loved from them is the e.l.f. Big Shot mascara. And they've come out with a lot of mascaras, and that's really the only one that has made me want to go buy another one. That was a relatively recent release within the last year or so. So hopefully after seeing the popularity of that product, they'll come out with more really top-notch mascara formulas, because I'd love to see that from them. All right, and then the 10th and final brand that I'm going to mention is Flower Beauty. Outside of No. 7, this was the easiest one. Highlighters. I had to only use one drugstore highlighter brand forever, Flower Beauty, easily. Their Day Glow is an amazing balmy highlighter. Shimmer and Strobe kind of palette powder highlight, incredible. And their newest liquid spotlight highlighter, the dupe for Charlotte Tilbury, is amazing. So easy highlighter, love it from them. Thing that I don't think that they do well, this definitely will be unpopular because I know a lot of people that love this from them, but for me personally, I don't think they do foundation that well. I really don't love any of the Flower Beauty foundations. I know that their Light Illusion is really popular, but it just didn't do it for me. So I'd love to see them come out with more foundation base products, because I think they do highlighter well, they do blushes well, they do lips well, and their eyeshadow quads are really, really great. I love their Flower Beauty Warrior mascara. Really the only category they're lacking in my opinion, is base products, primers and foundations. So I'd love to see more releases in those departments from them, but with highlighters, you just can't get better than Flower Beauty. All right, and I believe that's 10 brands, so we'll stop it here, but I hope you guys liked this kind of just sit down, chatty, gossipy video, and let me know what your opinions are in the comments below. Maybe you completely disagreed with some of these, maybe you completely agree, and let me know if you want to see more of these types of videos and what brands you want to see talked about next. So thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.